Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Grimm, and I am a representative of Great Oaks. I have worked with Great Oaks in a number of capacities over the year, and perhaps one of the greatest roles that I have had over the years is as a parent liaison, working with parents, talking about the value of career tech education. I'm so glad that you all have been able to join us this evening. Hopefully a number of parents, as well as perhaps a number of students. We say at Great Oaks that students go places. They go to college, they go on to continuing education, they go on to employment, they go on to the military, they go on to successful futures. We're really proud of that. In fact, one of our most recent classes, 93% of our students went on to continuing education and employment. And we want to talk to you tonight about how we have helped students achieve that. I want to talk to you a little bit about vocational education or career tech education, because I'm sure for some of you, just like it was for me, it's changed a lot from the days when I went to high school. You may not even recognize it if you would walk through the halls of Great Oaks. We have a number of folks here joining us tonight who are connected to Great Oaks and to career tech education in different capacities. And I want them to introduce themselves here shortly. But before I do, I want to talk to you a little bit about what Great Oaks is all about. Great Oaks is the umbrella. It's the district that serves 36 affiliate districts throughout Southwest Ohio. And we have career campuses that fall under that umbrella. We have one of our career campuses over on the west side of Cincinnati, Diamond Oaks, which is over in Harrison, Ohio, or Dent, Ohio. We have one of our campuses up in Wilmington, Ohio, called Laurel Oaks. We have one on the east side of Cincinnati called Live Oaks in Milford. And then we have one right here in Sharonville near our district office called Scarlet Oaks. And across those 4 campuses, we have a number of career programs, some of them unique to each campus, but altogether we have over 30 career programs. And we have everything from auto collision to secondary practical nursing. We have digital arts and design to welding, you name it, we've got it, meeting the needs of a number of students and their career interests. We serve juniors and seniors. We have some sophomore only programs and some senior only programs, and we'll talk a little bit about those. I'm going to let our panelists talk to you a little bit more about those opportunities here in a minute. Tonight is interactive though, so we want you to be able to ask the questions that you want answered. So take an opportunity and type those questions in the YouTube chat directly, either that or put them on social media using the hashtag #AskGreatOaks. Or feel free to snap us. Sorry about that. We had a little lights go out moment. Feel free to snap us at GO_real life, and we will answer those questions on air for you tonight. So we're going to jump in and let everybody take a chance to introduce themselves and tell us their connection to Great Oaks. And we're going to start tonight with John.
Hi there, I'm John Weidlich. I work in the Community Relations Office here at Great Oaks. It's my pleasure to be able to talk to people throughout the district. As Angela mentioned, we serve 36 school districts, so it's a large community that we serve, over 2,200 square miles from the Indiana border up to the Outlet Mall and Washington Courthouse. Our district serves most of Southwest Ohio. So thank you for being here this evening.
And then we will go to Bill next.
Well, good evening. Bill Davis from the Laurel Oaks campus of Great Oaks. Do some things district-wide, but my home base is the Laurel Oaks campus in Wilmington. I'm the career specialist there, where I handle recruiting, marketing, and admissions for our students and our incoming students. So that's my role there. And I've been part of Great Oaks for 30 years, so I believe in the mission and what we do there. So glad you're here tonight.
Great. And then last but not least, I'll let the Seideritz family introduce yourselves, please.
Sure. I'm James Seideritz. This is my wife, Amy, and our son, Joshua. And Joshua is a senior at Live Oaks, and he has both done his junior and senior years there. We're also a little unique in the sense that we are family business owners. We own a company in Blue Ash, Ohio, a suburb of Cincinnati, called Blue Ash Tool and Die. It's 58 years old, and it's a machine shop in the aviation industry. And so we're a little unique because we're also a business partner of the Great Oaks districts. And also we homeschool our son. So we've got kind of that also in our background. And so we can speak to some of the uniqueness of his education as the questions come up. So.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. And definitely a unique perspective. And we're so glad that you guys could be with us tonight. All of our panelists and certainly the Seideritz family, thank you for making time and for being a business partner. We couldn't do it without our business partners. That's really a unique perspective that Great Oaks has, is our connection with our business community. So thank you guys for being here. John, I just want to kind of start a question, a kickoff question. You know, I gave a little bit of an overview of Great Oaks and you extended on that, but can you talk a little bit more about eligibility for the Great Oaks programs? Can you talk about that eligibility and a little bit more about the career programs that we offer here?
Sure, you bet. Our programs are designed for students to come join us as juniors, and they spend their last 2 years with us as juniors and seniors. They typically, in most cases, will take their career technical classes as well as their academic classes with us, but they actually graduate from the school they came from. So that students, for instance, coming from Mason will be our students for 2 years, but they will actually graduate from Mason, participate in the graduation ceremony of their original school, and be a part of that community as well as a part of our community. You had mentioned programs. We have lots to talk about. We have 30 programs, as you said earlier. A couple I want to point out because they're brand new for the fall of 2022. The first is an HVAC, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning program that's at the Laurel Oaks campus in Wilmington. And the second is a program that's brand new in this area. In fact, there's only one other like it in Ohio. And that's Vision Care Technology, which prepares students to go into the optical medical field, either as technicians. They can work assisting with laser surgeries. They can qualify to become opticians, and in many other areas. It's an exciting program. There's a huge demand for it in this area. In fact, we're working closely with Cincinnati Eye Institute, one of the largest ophthalmology and optometry organizations in the area, to be able to offer this program because there's such a large demand, because there's so many jobs going unfilled right now. And it's a great career path for those in the medical field.
That's fantastic. And again, showing that partnership between business and industry in the programs that we provide. Really exciting and neat to hear about what's on the horizon for next school year. So thank you for sharing that. So John, a follow-up question to that, because I know, I have a daughter who's just started college, and I know top of mind for me is the dollars and cents question, when it comes to switching schools. So can you share a little bit about what it costs to attend one of the Great Oaks programs?
Sure. We're a public school district, which means that we're supported in the same way that your local school district is, through a combination of, in our case, a very small property tax levy and state funding. So for our students, there's no cost to attend. I should qualify that, because in many of our programs, uniforms are required. Now, they're not expensive, but For instance, those who are in a construction trade would dress appropriately. Those who are studying culinary will wear the same clothing they would wear in a commercial kitchen. And so our students, while they're in their career labs, will wear uniforms specific to the profession. And so there is a cost to parents for that.
But it sounds like a very nominal cost, and that's fantastic. Again, an opportunity for those students within the 36 school districts to have a very almost free education provided to them. So that's great. So I want to switch to Bill for a minute and talk a little bit. Just Bill, I know you had talked a little bit about your primary role being, to go out to the affiliated school districts, and talk about to those students and families and kind of help them navigate that enrollment process. Can you talk a little bit? Again, you said you had been with Great Oaks for 30 years, so I'm sure you've heard many of the whys, but what are some of the reasons why students come to Great Oaks?
Well, the main reason really is students who know what they want to do, and to get ahead and get a head start on their careers, whether it's the first stepping stones towards a career and getting those first certifications and license to continue to move and educate themselves. Or in some of our programs, they're done. Once they come through our programs, they're licensed, certified to go straight into the workforce, and really no further education needed in many of those areas. So that's some, but these kids, the students are, juniors in high school. I do mention that Laurel Oaks has an IT academy that we take sophomores into. So we are the one campus that does take sophomores into our IT academy. So some of these students are young, they might change their minds about what they want to come for. So some of them are using it as career exploration, just to see, they think they know what they want to do. So they come into a program and basically are trying it out to see if it's something they want to do the rest of their lives for a career or into college. So that's part of it. Some of it, students see this as their electives in high school. So which our career programs are. So as John mentioned, they still graduate from their high school, their academic credits, or towards their diploma or through their high schools. So the other portion is their electives. As we know, in many cases, a lot of high schools have cut back on some electives just because of what we have now with our economy and then with the schools. But so instead of a student taking art or a music class at their high school, they're in welding, getting welding certifications, or they're in cosmetology, so they're getting those as their elective portions. As I've heard people say in some other talks, as a steroid, electives on steroids, because you're taking, basically 3 periods in a row of the same subject, and you're getting real certifications and license. Because some people use it that way, it's a hobby. They want to learn how to do electrical and plumbing and work on their own house someday, or maybe they, want to work on their own car, so they come in for that, or work on their own computer. So there are some students who are in it for that. But I will say the majority of students are because that's the type of career that they feel at that time that they want to pursue. So they come in to get a big head start on that career, or then to further their education in college in that field. So
that's fantastic. I know I could have used a whole lesson in electric wiring myself, especially when I pay that bill to the electrician when he comes to my house. And I tell students that all the time. I mean, that's the reality, right? When I pay the plumber, or when I pay somebody to do my hair, or when I'm, paying somebody to do body work on my car, these are skills I don't have. And these students are absolutely getting a head start. Bill, I'm going to throw another question to you because this actually just came in. It's a family who wants to know about whether or not students can still be involved in their homeschool activities. What does that look like for a student? Can you talk a little bit about that?
yes, so we encourage students, I know I especially do, to stay involved in their homeschool as much as they choose. So whether they're in a sport or a marching band, or in their plays, musicals, after school activities, they are still a student from there. So homecoming, proms, those activities. So students are still involved in those things if they choose to be. So for example, in our case, we may have some students who are playing a sport or a marching band and would have to leave school early because the bus is leaving early to get to an event. So we work with those students on that. We allow students to be able to leave school early on those days or times they need to leave to get to those things, so they can stay involved. They're still responsible for their work, but we definitely work with students on those times and those activities so they can stay involved in their high school. And I mean, you name the sport, you name the activity, somebody does it on your campus. So, you know, we have all-state football players, we have marching band, color guard, down to swimmers, to leads and musicals at their high school. So they're all still involved, as like I said, as much as they want to be. And so it's a great combination of they get activities with us, but they also are able to stay involved with their homeschool. Pep rallies, things like that. High schools bring them back for those activities. I know during COVID, there hasn't been a lot of pep rallies in high schools for a while, but when they do, you know, they're invited back. They're, you know, senior meetings, class meetings, all of that information is provided to them, and they're able to still be involved.
That's great. Because I know for a lot of students, you know, and I'm sure you have this discussion with, you know, with a lot of students and families, sometimes that can be a big obstacle to making that transition, you know, wanting, you know, not necessarily wanting to leave, you know, that comfort zone and
Right.
and starting again. So, you know,
I'm honest, you know, there are some things, if it's during the school day, that you'll have to make a choice. You know, if you're in a special choir at your high school and it's third period during the school day at your high school, you know, may not be able to stay in that choir. But, you know, we do work creative with scheduling. We are definitely willing to work with the homeschools on scheduling and those things. And most of the time it works out. But there are a few things, obviously, that students will have to choose between.
yeah. Well, and another opportunity we have too is the JROTC program at our most of our campuses, and that's a, you know, great opportunity for students to be able to, you know, to connect, you know, not only with each other, but to have that head start if, you know, if military is, you know, a focus for them. It doesn't have, they don't have to use it as military option, but it can be an option that they use and get a social studies credit at the same time. So it's a great opportunity there as well. So I want to, just going back to the why for a second, Joshua, I want to ask you, because you're coming at it with a perspective that none of the rest of us can have. What was your why? What made you want to come to be part of the Great Oaks system, to be at Live Oaks?
Yes, ma'am, of course. So my particular interest, what I know I want to go into as a career is engineering. And of course, with the family business being in manufacturing, I was around engineers, I was around manufacturing. And I wanted to make sure that in the future, when I do become an engineer, I know what parts I might be designing, how they are going to be made, how to make sure that I am making good parts. And of course, I had a lot of guidance from my parents, from my relatives who run the business. And we looked at Live Oaks. I knew they got co-ops, kids that would come in and get credit, and would also, some of them have stuck around. And in fact, we have some employees who've been working for the family business for up to 30, 35 years now, who came out of the Great Oaks campuses. And so for me personally, going to Great Oaks for my junior and senior year of high school was very obvious to me. Definitely something I wanted to do. I wanted to get hands-on into the manufacturing process. I wanted to be certified in certain practices, which Great Oaks, I almost would say, is known for. And it's fantastic training. And I am very confident now, knowing that next year when I go off to college, I will have the manufacturing knowledge to be a good engineer, not only designing parts, but also knowing how they're made.
Absolutely. And I want to give you a shout out and congratulations because you just got one of, you're too humble to say it, but you just got one of your first college acceptance letters to one of the top institutions in the US for engineering. So kudos to you. Well, and to your parents too. I as a mom, and you as parents, you have to take a little credit for it, right? But I think it says a lot about, the foundation, not only that your parents have given you through homeschooling, but through Great Oaks and the program that you're doing through CNC machining. Thrilled to hear that, and neat to hear, what you're doing and how you're going to tie it into the engineering track. So that's really amazing, and congrats on that.
And if I could just add real quick.
Sure.
We don't know for certain, but when these colleges go through the applications that have been submitted, we feel pretty confident that when they see Joshua's Live Oaks experience on his resume, especially for the field and the study he's interested in going into, we feel pretty confident that stands out to the college application review people, because it shows that he's already, as a junior and senior in high school, on the right track to doing the kind of things that he'll be doing in college. So
100%. And again, I think it goes back to that, what I said in my opening remarks, our students go places. And I think having that foundation absolutely is what it's about. And I think there are a number of students who don't have that when they move on into post-secondary education. So I'm very excited for you that you've got that in hand. So I do want another for you all to hear what some of the other students, some of our alum, have to say about what their why was. This was recorded in the past, and want to share that with you as we learn what their why was, why they came to Great Oaks.
I came to Great Oaks to further advance my career straight out of high school and to get a fresh start in not only my academics, but also begin to work hands-on in my future career.
I came to Great Oaks to get a head start on my competition and get exposure to skills in the engineering world.
I was always really interested in medicine, and I just wanted to get a head start in my career and for going to college.
I used to kind of keep to myself and not be as outgoing, and now I have made a ton of new friends.
I learned that just being my true self is one of the big reasons I've become a lot more confident and I have a lot more friends.
I think it's a great experience to move outside my home school. It gives you a little life experience of what to expect outside of high school.
When we did sophomore visits and we came in 8th grade, I didn't come down. I didn't even know this was down here. I went to culinary and digital arts, just stuff that looked cool. And then I didn't even realize this is where the money is.
I came to Great Oaks because I wanted to further my background on structure, because I want to become an architect someday.
I've always loved big trucks. I just had a passion for actually working on them.
I came to Great Oaks because I had no clue what I was going to do with my future. I had recently started 4-H and really gotten into animals. So when I came and toured the school, I really, really loved the animal programs.
Both my parents were very supportive about me coming to the Oaks.
My mom was really nervous about me coming to Great Oaks, but after we spoke to a lot of counselors and we went over the academics, she actually was really excited.
My mom, she loved the idea of me coming here because she knew the Great Oaks could help me do what I love. I always loved it. She knew it can get me to college and beyond.
My mother and my friends have felt very excited that I was coming to Great Oaks.
When I told my dad I wanted to go to Great Oaks, he told me that if I wanted to go and pursue my dreams of becoming a kindergarten teacher, to go do it.
My dad came to one of the workshops and learned more about the program, and he learned that they set you up perfectly for college.
Great Oaks is just a very professional environment. They treat you like adults. They're preparing you for the workforce.
And when I got the opportunity to come to Great Oaks, I knew I just had to jump onto it.
So that was great to hear those students and what their why was. So one of the things I want to hear more about is from James and Amy, kind of, you guys do have a unique perspective that we've talked about. You guys do have the perspective of both being, parents and business partners. Well, actually you have a three-prong unique perspective because you're, your parents, your business partners, and you've homeschooled. So talk to me a little bit about that unique perspective and when Joshua made the decision to come and just what this pathway's been like for you all.
So Joshua was homeschooled from the very, very beginning. I had always felt that burden. And so because I know him so well as my son, I knew when he was in elementary school that he was going to be going into the sciences. Sometimes you just know, right, for your child. And that combined with the family business being in manufacturing, obviously we had a unique fit there. What is unique is, I will say, my husband and I are not sciencey people. So suddenly we had to, my goal as a homeschooling parent is to make certain that I can map his path towards his interests. And that is exactly where Live Oaks fit in, because we knew that the objective for any parent is to best prepare their child to be an independent citizen that contributes to society, right? And so my goal has always been to set him up as best as I possibly could. Of course, we knew about Live Oaks because of the business. We actually have connections with the teachers. In the long run, though, I will say this, that everything that Joshua is doing had to be his choice. It could not be ours. Had to be his. And so we went to some of the different programs. We went to one at Scarlett. And then, of course, we were familiar with Live. And he sat in on some classes, they had open houses. And then he had to make the decision. And as far as integrating what Live Oaks has to offer with the homeschool curriculum, I mean, it truly is easy. The staff, the teachers, everybody, very flexible, because, essentially he's there to take advantage of what Live Oaks has to offer, just like all the other students from all the other surrounding schools. It's just that he comes home for his academics and they do theirs there. And, Joshua, I would say, has even had opportunity to work with some of the kids there, like they would talk about math or talk about some of their academics. But, as a junior, he was there for the lab session in the mornings. And when he wasn't driving yet, I would drop him off and pick him up, and then we'd go home and have lunch and do school. And as a senior, it's become a little bit more intense because he has certifications that he wants to accomplish before he graduates. He's also working one full day a week at our business. And, lots of calculus, getting ready for college, but he has to do that on his own. But yeah,
draw the line at calculus.
Agreed.
But I mean, as far as the integration with the homeschool and Live Oaks, it is seamless.
Yeah.
It truly is.
And the schedule flexibility has really, it's been so great for us. And to some earlier points made about extracurricular activities and stuff like that, it may not always work exactly the way everybody wants. Sometimes you do have to make choices, but for the most part, our experience has been the school has been super flexible with us. And it's even given Joshua opportunities to do more at the school when he wants to. For instance, he's a senior now, but he'll go in mornings and he'll train and help his teacher with the juniors in the classes. So there's just so much opportunity to do as much as you want to do. And we've kind of put on Joshua to say, you have to own your education. And really Great Oaks, Live Oaks, where he goes in Milford, has just been super about allowing him to do just that. So.
Oh, he's also on student council.
Oh, and he's, yeah.
So as a homeschooler, that's great. Hey.
That's fantastic. And I love what you just said about owning your own education, because I think that's really key to how our instructors really approach things with students, because they're preparing them for the world of work, and that's where they're heading, is to becoming independent young men and women who have to, you go to a place where they're expected to perform independently, right? I mean, that, and so I think, that I guess brings me to a question. Joshua mentioned you've had employees that have been graduates of Great Oaks who have been with you for many, many years within your business. Talk to me about what kind of skills you're looking for. And I don't just mean, the hard skills. What are some of the soft skills that you're looking for when you're employing graduates?
Sure. So when, and we may not have clarified, Joshua is in the CNC Advanced Manufacturing program with Mr. Brandon Osborne at Live Oaks. And back prior to that being named that, it was known as precision machining. So it was kind of funny. John visited our facility not that long ago, and as we're walking around giving a tour, John was asking, our employees about their background. And it was even surprising to me how many Live Oaks, former Live Oaks students we actually have on our shop floor, and some for decades. And so what we really look for in our business is those folks who really are determined to work in a manufacturing environment with their hands and applying mathematical skills to craftsmanship. And so we really view our employees as career craftsmen. In fact, we were recently on a trip to Florida over Thanksgiving, and we're touring a manufacturing facility that a friend of mine operates. And lo and behold, we didn't know this, but as we're given the tour of the manufacturing facility, one of his CNC operators looks at me and says, "Oh, you're from Blue Ash Tool and Die? I used to be a co-op there from Live Oaks." And that was 30 or 40 years ago. And he's still, he was just over the moon, almost emotional about his experience at Live Oaks and his experience as a co-op, one of the first co-ops or the first co-op to come out of Live Oaks and work for us those many years ago. He was just over the moon excited that all of that past history laid the foundation for a 30 or 40 year career that he's had in the field he wanted to go into. And so that's what we are all about. That's what we kind of look for. And the neat thing about the Live Oaks program and the other programs of Great Oaks campuses are the co-op opportunities for these young people. Joshua's interest in college is to get into an engineering school that has co-op opportunities. And that's really kind of grounded or rooted in his Live Oaks experience, where we have at our company juniors and seniors who come and work for us part-time during the school year or full-time in the summer. And what it really helps us to do as a manufacturer is kind of train on the job these young people, and hopefully after they graduate, they stay with us. And we've had experience, of course, with several employees being able to do that. So for us, from a business standpoint, it's just a win-win.
That's what I was going to say. It's a win-win, and for the employee, and it's and for us as an institution, because then they're learning as much from you as they are from us. So that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I do want to pivot just a little bit, just because Joshua's situation is a little bit unusual. And I mean that in a good way, because I think every learner is unique at Great Oaks. That's really what this is about, is meeting the needs of every individual. That's what we are as a school. But Bill, I want you to talk about, just kind of this typical day, if you will, and talk about, how the career lab blends with academics and what that kind of looks like overall.
So with our, have students come in, students that spend the full day with us, half the day is in the lab. So most labs, now I know at our campus at Laurel Oaks, all junior labs or first year labs, I call them now, since we do have some sophomores, are in the morning. So they'll spend half of their day, about 2.5 hours in the lab that they're in. And then there's a lunch period, and then they have their 4 academic classes the other half of the day. So your English, your science, your social studies, your math. So that's pretty much the typical day. Then senior year or second year of the program, those academics are first thing during the day, and then the labs are in the afternoon. We like that format because that allows the seniors who are more likely to go on the job placement, as they talked about co-op. So if they're working in their field, they can come in just for the morning and then go out to work in the afternoon. We have some students that Joshua mentioned, like he does, like works all day. We have some situations like that also. But a majority of students will be there for their academics then in the morning, and then they leave for their jobs in the afternoon in place of their lab time. So half day academics, half day of lab. Academics are separate courses. Some of our labs require certain academics, like our cosmetology students, because the State Board of Ohio requires them to take chemistry the first year. They also have to have an anatomy or a college biology, which we offer CCP courses also there during the day and online. So they have to have those. Our health students, we recommend course anatomy and chemistry. Aviation students have to have a physics course. But the academics are separate, a separate part of that day. So you could be in your chemistry class and you're a welding student from one of my schools in Wilmington, and then you might be in there with a cosmetology student from Washington Courthouse taking the same chemistry course. So they are the straight, curriculum that you would have at any other high school for our courses. I will say aviation physics is one that is a separate course in its own. Aviation physics and math, but the rest are regular academics. And I think that's people were used 2 years ago where we had, technical writing, technical math, which were based on your programs. So, if you were a welding student, you learned math for welding students. I will say our welding instructor wishes they still offered that course, so he wouldn't have to teach that in his lab. But our maths are now Algebra 2 and geometry and pre-calculus and calculus. And we have all those up through college algebra. So half your day of your academic core for your diploma and for future, and then the other half of your day are your electives, which is your lab.
Great. Sorry, I heard you talk about college credit plus courses. We also have some questions coming in about supporting students who may need some extra support, students who might be on an IEP. Bill, can you talk a little bit about that? And are there particular programs students would go into, or what does that look like?
So, every program's open to any student. Actually, through our application process and admission process, initial admission, we're actually blind to any students who are on an IEP when I process applications or 504s or anything like that. They're purely looked at based on their, high school credits, what they've done, and in high school. So, but then once a student, if they are accepted into a program, then they will be notified if they will let us know if they're on an IEP or 504. And then they will have a meeting and they'll discuss it with the family, the intervention specialist, the IEP team from their high school, as well as then a representative from from the campus will go to have a meeting to make sure that, it's an appropriate placement for that student, that we want all students to be successful, that they'll be able to be successful in that program. So, and then they're supported throughout that. We have intervention specialists. We're under the same guidelines as every other high school, every other school in Ohio with our ratios, and we have co-taught classrooms in our academic areas. So definitely we're open to every program. Now, we do have some programs like our Career X program at each campus, which is geared towards then special needs students. We also have with dealing with our project search program. So we also have programs in Great Oaks which are designed to meet the needs of the special needs students. But in every program, there are, could be special needs students and IEPs if it's an appropriate placement determined by the family and the intervention team that determines that.
Great. And then Bill, we have another question just about the idea of if a student, just this idea of taking classes at their high school campus and then taking the career lab at Great Oaks, what does that look like? And can you talk through that a little bit?
Yeah, so those are usually individual basis decisions. We at Great Oaks are definitely open to students doing that, just coming for their career lab and then taking their academics at their high school or through homeschooling or staying with an online school. That is an option, most programs. There are exceptions like cosmetology. There are some required courses at the campus, aviation, but most are eligible to do that. It just comes down to timing and whether they can work the schedule out with their homeschool. Because some of that with travel time in between and getting back, can they get enough courses at their high school? In my case, at the Laurel Oaks campus, we have some schools that are 40, 45 minutes away from our campus. So for them to be able to get back to their high school in time to take some half-day classes, it would be a challenge. But it is an option. I know we have some schools that are close to our campuses that there are more students that do the half-day option, where they take their academics at their high school and just come there for the lab portion. So it's definitely an option for that. And it's usually just an individual basis, work through the high school and us.
Great. And then John, a question about whether or not you have to go to the campus that's actually affiliated with your high school. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, I'm happy to. We have 4 campuses, as you mentioned. They're spread out across Southwest Ohio. And so those campuses work most directly with the high schools that are closest to them. But we have a couple of opportunities. For one thing, not all programs are at all campuses. For instance, if a student would like to take firefighting, they would come to our Scarlet Oaks campus regardless of what school district they lived in, because our firefighting program resides here at Scarlet Oaks. And so students can choose a program that's not offered at their closest campus and apply for that at the next closest location that it's available, or any location for that matter. The other option is that for students who may be interested in a program that's offered at more than one campus, but if it fills up at the campus closest to them, there may be openings in the next campus over. Bill mentioned cosmetology, for instance. We have cosmetology programs at all 4 of our campuses, and they're very popular. But if it fills up in one campus and there are openings in the next one, then students can have the option to apply and be accepted into the other campus.
Great. So sounds like lots of different options for a variety of students in a variety of different ways. And I want you all to hear directly from some of our alumni what their experiences in the classroom have been like. So we're going to play a video from you for you so that you can hear directly from them.
So many things just start to line up for you that you can never get anywhere else. This class especially teaches you everything from teamwork to leadership to just getting out of your comfort zone.
We do a lot of group projects, and also we have very challenging classes to get you ready for college.
Here in CSTN, we have the opportunity to compete in BPA, Business Professionals of America. I competed in computer concepts and won first place in state competitions.
We meet people that are all over the board. We have people that come in from the FBI, the DEA, Homeland Security, and police academies alike, and chiefs of police from all around the state of Ohio.
I had a lot of friends back in my high school, and I still do. I still maintain contact with most of them.
You get very close to your classmates. I mean, you come in and you don't really know them at all, and then you're in here so long with them that you become super close. I mean, we're all one big family.
Here I have a ton of friends. I hang out with them most of the time. It's just a great place.
So coming to Great Oaks, you are still able to be in homeschool activities. I'm a cheerleader on the varsity squad at Hillsborough High School and also in the student council there.
I'm still involved with my homeschool, North College Hill. I'm a captain there, my 2-year captain on the soccer team.
I do JRTC here at the Great Oaks. I also play softball and soccer.
I run track as a hurdler, and I also still go to our school dances, such as our homecomings and proms.
As a senior, if you have good grades, you can go to a job site and get in-job experience rather than being in lab all day, and you can make actual money.
I work with Messer Construction. I'm out on placement for them. And what I do is I go out on co-op.
So right now I have a job at Cincinnati Avionics at Claremont County Airport, and what we do there is radios, wiring, servos, basically all the stuff that keeps you in the air.
We learn C++, Ruby, JavaScript, HTML, and in here you learn all these skills and certifications for free, which cost a lot of money outside of school.
All right, well, that was great to hear from some of our alum and their experience in our classes at Great Oaks. Just a reminder too that this is a live we want you to be able to ask us questions and interact with us. So please feel free to post your questions directly in our YouTube chat or post them anywhere on social using hashtag Ask Great Oaks, or you can snap us at geo_real life. So please keep those questions coming. John, I want to jump back to you for a minute. I know that you have worked with our feeder districts and families and counselors and you name it, all the stakeholders within our affiliate districts for a number of years. What would you say are probably some of the biggest misconceptions that you hear or face about Great Oaks?
Oh, that's a great question. You know, one of the most common statements I hear from people is, well, not everybody's cut out to go to college. And that's true. But the implication is that people who go to Great Oaks aren't going to college. And the truth is that about half of our students go directly to college from here. Others will take continuing education in other forms or at other times. So students who come to us are set up to be able to do a variety of things after they leave. I think Joshua is a great example of that. His career path is cut out for him. His career path involves college. So that's one of the misconceptions I hear. The other common one is that people don't realize just how many different kinds of programs there are here. You know, there are some programs that people think of when they think of a career technical school, automotive programs, cosmetology, nursing, for instance, but they don't realize that with 30 programs, we offer surgical technology so that students learn to become sterile processing technicians and are very involved in surgeries. We have a variety of healthcare programs. We offer firefighting and law enforcement, and a wide range of other programs, all of which lead to a certification and all of which prepare the graduate to enter into a career field. So I think people are sometimes pleasantly surprised when they realize the variety that's available to their students here at Great Oaks, at our campuses.
That's great. And that leads very nicely into my next question, which actually, Bill, I want to ask to you, which is more about those certifications that John just referenced. Not only the certifications, but a little bit more about some of those college credits that you referenced earlier. I know we have some articulation agreements, which is a big, long, fancy word. But can you just talk a little bit more about those opportunities for students?
Yes, so So when students, come into a program, I could not go through in this hour or 2 or 3 hours and talk about every certification that students can get through all of our Great Oaks programs. But these are, actual certifications through their career programs that they're able to obtain, which would be, these are equal to, in most cases, what adults will take, pay for to take as an adult student through colleges, through other avenues that they're able to get in high school at no cost to them, be able to get these certifications. Cosmetology is cosmetology. You're a state licensed cosmetologist from the Ohio Board of Cosmetology. So people are getting ASC certifications, Adobe certifications in digital arts and design. These are, in our aviation program at 2 of our campuses now. That's an FAA program where they're getting their, airframe license to work on aircraft right there in high school for free, while adults are taking those classes at night and paying thousands of dollars to take those same courses. So those certifications that they're getting in their labs are there, they're theirs. If they decide once they graduate to go into that field, if they don't, they're still there. It's something they'll always have, something to use. But those certifications are definitely real certification that they're able to obtain. Our academic side, and we talk up through CCP courses. So, we have, I'll talk academic, but we also have, you get college credit for some things in your labs also, in the lab choice that they take. Many of these talked articulation agreements. We have something that's fancy word called a C-tag in Ohio, where they're getting college credit for courses they're taking in their labs. And that's all for free. There's no cost to the students for that. They go to a college. Those are already college credits. Now, some colleges will take them as exactly what they are. Some will take them as an elective credit. It depends on the college and what they accept. But those are actual college, credits they're getting through their lab. The academic portion of the day, we have CCP available, the College Credit Plus, just as any student in Ohio is eligible to take. At campuses we offer, and at the Laurel Oaks campus, we offer them some during the school day as a regular class with an actual teacher in the classroom. Others they can take online. They could go to a local college and take courses through CCP and then come just and take their lab with us. There's so many opportunities for them for college credit to get while they're in high school. And all of that comes with, no cost to the student.
Yeah, and that no cost part is what is so amazing, because there are students who walk out with an amazing amount of credit under their belt. To John's point, some are ready to use it right away. Some, may bank it and use it for another day, but they've got it and they're ready, to use it when they're ready.
Right.
So it's a great opportunity. Joshua and Amy and James, I know you referenced a certification that you were working on. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, ma'am. So for CNC specifically, overall, there are multiple certifications you get. The very first one that all the students are required to get is their OSHA 10-hour General Assembly. You could go into any business, show them that, and it's showing that, hey, I am going to be a safe worker. I'm not going to do something that would get me harmed. I am responsible. Okay. And it's really nice because that will last you your whole lifetime. And you also get a nice card and a certificate. And so it's just, they're really nice certificates that everyone has to have when you're working in the industry, except you're having teenagers, people who don't have to pay for them. You're already getting it. You're already being prepared for the industry. And then after that, there are some other certificates that you could get, but you don't even need those. You could go out and you could already be working co-ops. You could be working at places. And then you could also get these certificates on top of that if you wanted to. So some of the certificates are FANUC or G coding. That for CNC is the coding language itself. And if you get FANUC certified, it is saying, hey, I really understand CNC and I could program a machine myself to make a part exactly how I want it to. I don't need any software. I can just read the code and I can understand what it says. And that's really amazing. It can really jumpstart you into higher positions in the industry, from just being an operator or a machinist to being the programmer themselves, who take the engineering drawings and actually tell the machine, hey, this is what you need to do to make the part. And then some other opportunities for certifications. Presently, I have completed and right now finishing up my NIMS certification. NIMS is really used in the engineering field. In fact, my cousin, who is an engineer for the business, he has to be NIMS certified. So this is really cool that I'm a senior in high school and I'm already getting the opportunity to freely advance myself by getting all these engineering certifications. So NIMS and specifically would be taking my knowledge of G coding and creating a part that has some very tight tolerances and actually making it on the machine. And then it has to be measured and it has to hold plus or minus 0.003 of an inch.
Okay, that's pretty precise. I'm not gonna lie. And you know how your dad said, or your mom and dad says, we're out at calculus. I was definitely out at calculus, although back in the day I could do a differential something or two, but I'm definitely out at FANUC. You lost me like, whoa, dude, I don't think I could do any of that, but I'm very impressed that you can, and that you can walk away, like you said, as a senior in high school and have that, because not only do you have the advantage over so many other employees, but you have the confidence, right? I mean, you have the knowledge and the confidence, and that's something that you can't be taught. I mean, that's something that is just, yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. I don't have any other way to say it. It's just pretty cool.
If I could add, in
Yeah.
fact, next month, and I think this goes across different disciplines at the Great Oaks campuses, there's something called the skills competition.
Right.
And Josh was actually going to participate, I think, in 3 things now. Two. Sorry.
Just
so you want to explain what the skills
yes.
is a little bit?
So Skills USA, it's an amazing program. It is, I don't want to call it a championship, but it is a competitive test exams that go from your local. So for each of the schools, so local for me would just be anything in the Live Oaks. And then it goes to regional. So anything within the Live Oaks campuses. Great Oaks, I'm sorry. Yeah. Great Oaks campuses. And so I believe that will be on February the 14th. And I believe, have to go to Scarlet Oaks, where the regional competition will take place. Mm-hmm. If you progress from regional, then you go to state. If you progress from state, you go national. So it goes across a wide variety of disciplines, including CNC manufacturing. And so I am going to be participating as programming, as I said, G code for milling and lathe. And so that is what I will be doing for the competition. And the second one I will be doing is technical math. So what's really nice then is that Skills has a championship, you could say, across all the different trades you could learn. So there's one for cosmetology, there's one for nursing, there's one for welding, and there's all these different championships. I think there's actually a couple when it comes to nursing and medical devices.
There are. In fact, I'm going to ask John if he wouldn't mind sharing our career tech student organizations and talk a little bit about that for some of the other programs. John, would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Sure, I'll be glad to. First of all, good luck, Joshua.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every one of our programs is connected to a career technical student organization, or a CTSO. And that includes Skills USA, which Joshua talked about, HOSA, which is a healthcare, CTSO, FFA for agriculture-based programs, and on and on. And as they said, part of this is that it builds student leadership. Students have the opportunity to become officers and be part of the organization on their campus or even regionally or at the state level. Every year we have a number of students who are state officers in their CTSO. And then there are the competitions. Again, as Joshua mentioned, they're local, regional, state, and national. And it's a chance for students who are learning skills like welding or like nursing or like technical math, or in the case of law enforcement, they might do crime scene investigation competitions. It's really fascinating to watch. But the real exciting part about that is that students are showing their skills and comparing them to students across the state and across the country, and they're being judged by professionals in the field. It's not uncommon for very good students in competitions to be offered jobs on the spot by the judges there, who are looking always for the best and the brightest. And those competitions show the best and the brightest in those fields. I should mention that the last couple of years, competitions have been kind of messed up. Some have been canceled, some have been delayed or done virtually, thanks COVID. But we're hoping that things are getting back to normal in those terms, or will be soon. But in the last year that we sent all of our students to competitions, we had over 300 students reach the state level in the competition, and about 45 go on to national competition, and several reach the top 10 nationally in their field. So these are great students with strong skills, and they're showing those skills across the country.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's wonderful. And I can't imagine, like you said, having the leadership opportunity and the confidence building kinds of moments, when I was that age in high school, just extraordinary. Bill, I want to ask you though, when I look at somebody like Joshua, obviously, very focused, knows what he wanted to do, coming in with a plan. I would imagine there are a number of students at Great Oaks who are considering coming to Great Oaks who don't necessarily, know what kind of career field that they are interested in. Honestly may not have any idea what they're interested in. They just know that they're ready for a change, ready for a fresh start, a new beginning. Can you talk a little bit about kind of how they can figure that out and what that looks like?
Well, when I talk to students like that, that's why Great Oaks, we bring students in as 8th graders to kind of expose them to careers. We're actually pushing down into the elementaries now with some career activities to try to just get students to start thinking about, what they want to do. But one tool that I always recommend is career interest surveys. We have a link from our website to career interest surveys. It's through Ohio Means Jobs has a great career interest survey on there. Where they go on and students they just answer questions, and it aligns them with their interests, and it aligns them with certain careers that fit their interest. Because I talk to students, if you can find something you want to do every day that you like doing, makes your life a lot easier when you enjoy what you're doing every day. So if it matches your interest, you can get a career out of that. So I look at career interest surveys. I talk to students about, asking questions of people in the community, and if they're at the doctor's office and they think they're interested in the health field, talk to the medical assistant, talk to them. Hey, do you like what you do? What do you do? How did you get where you are? I ask those questions all the time, and I always have to preface it. Hey, this is what I do for a living. Like, where did you get your phlebotomy license before you draw my blood? I ask adults those things. So I ask students to do that. The other is just to visit a campus. Not just, a Great Oaks campus, obviously, but if you don't live in our area, visit your career campus, just to see different things and different opportunities that are out there. But the biggest thing, like I said, is to is to find something and visit. Look at websites, look online at different careers, and you can kind of see those different things and opportunities and find those access. So, I like on our website, I invite people to look through the website. We have something on there called Essential Skills, our essential skill sheets. Those are great things to pull up. Some people think, well, those are for, a special needs student to see if they will be eligible to do this program. And that's not the case. It can be used for that, but it's also used to show you these are the skills that you needed in this type of career. And you can look at those and say, hey, I like to do those things. I'm good at those things. And that might be a type of career or, a program that would fit you to use those essential skill sheets. And then, like I said, to try it out, visit, come to an open house, spend some time, do a visit day. And then students, as we said, they're young. They might think they know what they want to do until they get there. And, we have a trial period at the beginning of every school year where students could switch programs. As long as there's an opening in a different program, they get there and see if it's what they really want to do. And if hey, I might decide I want this, they can switch. We have students that spend a whole year in a program. And then after a year, hey, can I come back my senior year in a different program? This is my interest now. And those are individual cases, and sometimes we can make those work for a student to come just as a senior into the program for 1 year. I remind them you can't get everything in 1 year, you can get in 2, but you can come in 2 and get certain certifications in just a year. So those are things I just encourage. And the big thing for me is the career interest survey. To me, that's a starting place to kind of give students an idea of what interests they have that fit with a certain career, and then start exploring those from there. So.
That's great. Thank you. I think those are great suggestions. May need to go home and unroll some of those on my my sophomore son. But I think, again, Joshua has shared, you've shared a lot, Joshua, about kind of where you see yourself for your future. Excited to see, what that holds. Obviously, continuing education is going to be a big part of that. I would like to take a look. Again, we had connected with some of our alum before they left our fold. We recorded some of our students talking about their plans for their future. And I'd like to play this video so you can hear from some of them what their plans are for after they graduated.
What makes Great Oaks great is the fact that they not only introduce you to future jobs in your career as a health professional, but they also help you to get there.
In the future, I'd like to major in electrical engineering. I am currently looking at schools, deciding between UC or Case Western.
I want to go to college because I just want to move higher up and have a better chance in my future.
I'm going to go off to college to get my business degree so I can own my own salon. It's going to be like a spa and a salon.
What we're ultimately studying for is to get our National Sterile Processing Certification. What that means is that we'll be able to be hired for any sterile processing position in any healthcare facility.
One of the bigger certifications I'll leave here with is the ASC Certification. The ASC Certification is for professional mechanics.
Right when I graduate, I also want to get different experiences, and so I'm going to do 4 years of college.
Not only will I be going to college next year, I will be also working part-time in a heavy equipment industry.
So after leaving here, you can go right to a vet's office or you can go to college. There are multiple great options.
I never dread going to school. I'm always up on time. I'm always here early. I like everything about this place.
The school has really exceeded my expectations.
Your future's in your hands. Take it very seriously. Study, study, study.
Be productive, don't sit around, just stay working and keep at it and don't give up.
You can just further your passions and learn what you want to do. If you're thinking about coming to Great Oaks, it's a great school and you will really excel here.
Well, it was great to hear what their plans are for after graduation. And I know, Bill, you probably have already had a number of students kind of chomping at the bit to hear whether or not they've made it into their program of choice. In fact, we had a question come in from students asking. So talk to us a little bit about priority application. I know the application's open. Some programs are either filling fast, some may already be full. Priority deadline is February 8th. So can you talk through that with us and also talk about our open houses that are coming up?
Yes, so applications are open. They open mid-November. I had applications about 10 minutes into the application opening online. But we take all applications, the priority deadline through February 8th, as you mentioned. So it was not first come, first serve. Every student that has applied through February 8th is all in the same pool of students for those programs. Just on our website, greatoaks.com, you can go application.greatoaks.com to get you directly to that application, but they throw out an online application. Homeschool counselors, homeschool parents, everyone will then upload transcripts, report cards, those types of things to all the career specialists online. And then February 9th, we'll start processing those applications. So on those days, for example, on February 8th, if we have, 24 applications for 25 spots on a campus, if all of those students are eligible, because we do have credit requirements to get into Great Oaks, so we do not take students who are credit deficient towards their high school diplomas, so they must be on track. But we look at those students, if they're all eligible, all those students would be offered a spot into that program. Other programs on February 8th, we're going to have 60 applications for 25 spots in some cases or more. So then we have a scoring rubric that's used to determine which of those students are offered a position. And then the restaurant would go into a wait pool for a spot, or they may accept a second choice and still would wait for their first choice. And then students will be notified. Our first notification is Friday, March 4th. So I know some students were anxious. I get lots of calls and emails. I applied in November. I try to remind them, I know that's awesome, you know what you want to do, but we wait until the priority deadline, till students have a chance to visit. Parents have a chance to visit at our open houses. So that's why we wait. And it takes, to be honest, it takes a while to process that many applications that we get in. We get a few weeks to do that. So March 4th. So those students that are waiting, March 4th is that notification day of their status, whether they're accepted, a wait list, second choice, something they need to do to be accepted, whatever those are. That comes March 4th. So we have that, which leads into our open houses we talked about. I think we had a slide there. So open houses at the campuses, March 26th, you'll see is our Live Oaks and our Scarlet Oaks open houses. And then the 27th, the next day, is our open house at Laurel Oaks and at Diamond Oaks. So that's a chance for students to come in, bring their families to come in and learn about programs, meet instructors with that there. So I definitely encourage people to come to open house. And I always tell people, if for some reason you can't make that into your schedule, please contact one of the career specialists that is associated with the campus closest to you that you want to visit, or just one you want to visit. I talked to a student parent today from Milford, which is normally a Live Oak school, and they're going to come visit Laurel Oaks for a program. So we can make other days and times meet and fit also, just so you can see the campus and meet people and see programs. So I definitely encourage you to contact one of us there on that slide, or on the website. You'll see us there to come and visit if open house date and time doesn't work for you as an individual. So, but that's the way, the application process works. We're still accepting we'll take applications after the priority deadline. But as I mentioned, we do hold to the priority deadline. So if a program fills on February 8th, because we have enough applications that are qualified, any student that applies after that for that program, they would obviously just go into the wait pool to see if there's an opening. Students change their mind, they move away up until school next year. As we said, the trial period, some students get there and realize this just isn't for me, and that's okay. And they might go back to their high school or switch programs. So that gives them an opportunity for something that might open. So that's the way our process works. And anytime I say if there's questions, just contact your career specialist through email or phone call, and then we'll get back with you on those questions.
So Bill, a follow-up question just came in to that is, how often would you say students don't get their first choice?
Wow.
I know, I almost didn't throw that to you because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I tell students that students who are on track to graduate and doing okay in school, most, I mean, I would say 90% of those students, I'm just throwing that number, I don't know exact percentage, will get their first choice. You know, now if I just narrowed that down to animal science at my campus or welding, you know, that's not the case. I'll have 70 applications for 25 spots.
Sure.
But overall, it's very high. Most students do get their first choice if they are on track towards their diploma.
And that's the key. The key is the on track part. So,
correct. Yes.
So another piece, you know, I know John was thanking COVID earlier, and we'll give another shout out to our friend COVID. The reality is, I know, you know, students, you know, normally have the chance to visit your campuses, but I know right now, with the resurgence of things, I know it has been difficult for a lot of homeschools or affiliated schools to necessarily get students to see all of the campuses. And I know that that's been difficult. Can you talk a little bit about access to the virtual tours and that opportunity for families if they're not able? I know we talked about the open houses as well, but seeing the virtual tours can be another opportunity for families. Would you mind mentioning that?
Yeah, that was major. Last year, you know, we had no visitors on those days. So virtual tours were created. And they've been updated. They're pretty awesome. So if you go onto our website, you can go to all the virtual tours. So you can actually put yourself in the computer into all of our labs and be able to look around. So you can actually see what the lab looks like that you're there with. And on those websites, you'll also find a lot more information. There's videos on there. There's links to, you know, certifications that you can earn. So all that, some of the questions that people might have that they would ask somebody in person, they could look also then through our website and through the program pages, because those program pages have lots of information, lots of links. But the virtual tours, the students that were able to see them, that I showed them to, and they get in there and look, are pretty amazed at what they can see and look around. It's like you're walking around the lab kind of and looking around to see what each lab has to offer there, to actually get a visual of it also. So
yeah, pictures worth 1,000 words. And again, you can get to them through the individual program pages. So I think Seideritz family, I'm sure for you, a picture was worth 1,000 words. I know you guys have been involved with Great Oaks or with Live Oaks for a long time, but you know, just what was your impression when you were a family that first stepped foot on campus? What was that like for you all?
Well, we were blessed to be able to go on campus for these tours. So we went to Scarlet Oaks first, and we went into the
robotics engineering.
It was robotics engineering, right? Yeah. And completely impressed with everything that we saw. We were there a lot longer than I expected because, you know, and I mean, there was everything in there from 3D printers to laser cutters. Joshua looked at the chalkboard, and there was an entire electrical schematic up on the chalkboard, and, you know, he starts spouting off, you know, he knew what that was. So it was very, and then there was one whole corner section that was full of tools, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it was, for somebody who is a creative, who likes to work with their hands, dabble in everything. It was Toyland, you know. And
any labs like that, you sometimes wish, oh man, too bad I'd have to pay money, and too bad I don't have a really long life, or else I might just come back and do welding, and then I'll go into the robotics. Then I do all of them. I'll go into culinary.
So obviously in our house, we work on focus.
Right. No, but it's called multi-potentiality, right? When you have all these different interests, you want to do it all. And I think it's fun. And, you know, I think though it points to the importance of going to those open houses. I think if you can see, again, a picture's worth 1,000 words. If you guys can get, you know, to see on January 26th and 27th and see it for yourself. You know, I just remember the first time I stepped foot on campus, and, you know, and they've all been or are in the process of being renovated now. And it's an extraordinary place. And to Joshua's point, I mean, it just, you know, each one has its unique set of toys. I mean, you guys use that word, and it's, you know, it's like these amazing hands-on opportunities. So I just want to ask a last question just for James and Amy specifically. Seeing Joshua now as he's going into his last semester of high school, what has been your proudest part of his journey at Great Oaks? What would you say has made you the proudest?
Now mom's crying. Good job. All right, I'll take this one. So, you know, from our perspective, I think his ability, John mentioned it a little bit ago, to develop leadership skills in his program has been just invaluable, I think. He's been able to have opportunity to go the extra mile in his classes, helping the teacher out, like we mentioned earlier, with the younger students, helping other students. Just last week, I think it was last week, he was helping another lab, another program. What was, you want to explain that real quick?
Okay, so yeah, quick. Okay, so Future Farmers of America, or the FFA, is part of another lab. It's veterinary and some other group. I can't quite remember.
Animal science, probably.
Animal science and veterinary. And they need to be part of Future Farmers of America. So the FFA, and the teacher wanted little wood plaques, and she had bought all these little wood pallets. And so she came over and she wanted someone to laser engrave them, because we have the laser engraver. So that was a project I worked on. And also CNC, we have the 3D printer and the laser engraver. So I get to dabble in more than just CNC machines. So I run up on the software laser program to laser print FFA 2021, 2022. And I took 70 of these wood pallets and made 70 of these little plaques for them to put their images on. And so that was really fun working for another lab and being able to give them something.
Yeah. So the ability just to be able to see a bigger picture, even outside of his specific lab, and be able to work with diverse groups within the campuses, and those leadership development opportunities. We mentioned he's on student council, and, you know, and I can say this because I'm a homeschool dad, but here's a homeschooler on student council at a public school setting, and just how neat that is for us, because it just speaks to the flexibility and the acceptance and all the school has of all types of kids with all types of backgrounds and all types of trajectories, if you will. And it's just really kind of that neat bringing together of all those different talents and skills and aspirations and putting them all together in one place. That to me is the most valuable part of his journey.
I will add something too, and I don't know for those who are watching online, but Joshua is also an only child. So as a homeschooler, you know, then putting him out there and saying, okay, little bird, you know, get out there, and, you know, it was good for him, because he had to, not that he was shy to begin with, but it gave him additional, like James said, leadership opportunities. And it also meant that he needed to begin to stand on his own 2 feet and get involved and be a part, and team efforts and work with others and all those things that when you have a career, they are those soft skills that you were referring to earlier. And so Live Oaks gave him that soft skill that he needed with people and with initiative and
teamwork
and working, all of those things can be developed within your program.
Love it. Well, I'm going to ask then, because I think you guys really answered it from your perspective, for Joshua, for John and for Bill. And John, I'll start with you. How do you think Great Oaks prepares students for the future?
I think Great Oaks expects students to become adults. We hear that often from our students, that they come to us and they're given independence, they're given expectations and responsibilities. They get the chance to really transition into adulthood, regardless of the program that they're in and regardless of where they're coming from. This is really a chance for, Amy, I really like the little bird analogy, for so many of our students, this is the chance for them to become adults, and they're treated as such, and they're respected, and they're given responsibility. It's great to be able to see students come in as juniors and leave here as grown folks. It's just, to me, regardless of what they're learning and where they're going after they get out of here, that's a huge step for them.
Love that. And Bill, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think John hit that pretty well. I mean, it's just amazing to see the students when they come in and where they go. What we prepare them for is for life. In those situations, they are treated a little different when they come, because they're working with some major equipment and heavy equipment as an adult would be. I mean, they're given some responsibility, and we trust them. And some of the machines I know that Josh will be working on, I mean, those are some serious machines that we're giving students access to, teenagers access to these machines that, just shows that level of maturity that they come in, that they grow with. Now, we're still a high school. We still have high school stage students. I remind people, we are still a high school full of 16 to 18-year-olds. But what they come out with and ready to work and as an adult, whether it's to college or to a career, and what they're prepared with, is just amazing. And that's why I heard so much here tonight, that I just wanted to say that, John talked about things people say and misconceptions. And I just tell people, come and visit a Great Oaks campus, see what we're about. We are not the career centers of vocational schools. Even when I started teaching, I started 30 years ago with Great Oaks, and was awesome then, and it's awesome now, but it's not, it's progressed so much, of what we offer students and the students that are here, also. So I remind them of that. Come and see. When we have kids that are interested, and their parents will be, oh, I don't know about the vocational school. And you hear those stories of parents, I say, you get your parent to come and visit. Come and talk to some people and see what we're all about. And I have parents leave in tears that they didn't let their kid come there because of what they thought it was.
Right.
And they regret it. And these are educated people who work in our local schools that come and visit and don't realize what they have right here in their backyards. So I encourage people to come and visit. The students that we're putting out are amazing with what they can do, and their careers and their futures are definitely all ahead of them and ready to go places. So just come and visit and see what we're all about as a Great Oaks campus.
And if I could add, as on behalf of all employers out there, because we are an employer.
Sure.
Employers want more of this. Employers need more of this. And the students who come from these programs, employers are hotly seeking, because what these young people have demonstrated is a drive and a determination and a willingness to learn and taking their future in their own hands. And I'm telling you, now more than ever, employers are looking for those qualities in their new employees. And so I compete, my business competes with a line long of other companies just like us going after these students. And it just speaks to the quality and the importance of these students and what they're able to contribute right out of the gate when they get into the post-high school world.
Can I add something? Just really quick, Joshua took some online classes from a science teacher that I located who lives in the state of Washington. And I had to make some timing arrangements with this teacher because of when his physics and chemistry classes were versus his Live Oaks classes. And I sent information about Live Oaks and the website and everything to his teacher so that he would understand what exactly it was Joshua would be doing at Live Oaks and why he needed to make other arrangements. And this teacher wrote me back completely impressed with what he saw on Live Oaks website. And for those listening, I would just want you to know that what Live Oaks has and what you have here is unique. It is not available in every state. And you have an amazing resource here that is making other people in other states very jealous for their own children. It is fantastic, and I cannot recommend it enough.
That's great. And as Bill said, they are going places, without a doubt. So I want to just thank our viewers tonight. I want to thank all of our panelists. I really think this has been a wonderful opportunity for everybody to learn about this great resource we have in our backyard. If you guys weren't able to watch all of it from the beginning, this session has been recorded, so you'll be able to watch it back. You can watch it back on our website at greatoaks.com/parentqa. It'll also be available on our YouTube channel. As Bill mentioned earlier, our priority application deadline is February the 8th. We'll continue to take applications after that time. If you are not already connected to our social media, please connect with our social media sites so you can learn more about who we are as a school, especially as you are applying. And don't forget about our open houses. Our open houses, all of the details are on our website because we have 4 different campuses that are going to be having those going on January 26th and 27th. So the details of the times and which campuses those are on our website. Also, those virtual tours that Bill mentioned earlier, there's a virtual tour for every program at every campus, and those are available on the program pages on our website. So if you don't have a chance to go see a program in person, if you're not able to make the visit during the day with your affiliated school, check out the virtual tour. We can't say enough how important it is to really see the programs in person. So please take an opportunity to see them for yourself. So with that, thank you again for checking in with us tonight. Thank you, viewers, and we wish everyone a great evening, and we appreciate everybody for joining us, and thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.